Hey guys, what is up? It is Danlags, and welcome back to episode number 2 of the HGTV 2016 Dream Home Let's Build. So again guys, we are doing the HGTV Dream Home again, just like we did last year right across the street for 2015. We are building the 2016 version. So I did a few things off camera in between the first and second episode just to kind of expedite the process a little bit. Did some front landscaping here, so I added some coarse dirt and just kind of spammed in a bunch of different kinds of flowers and some shrubs and things like that, and just kind of organized this space a little bit more, and stuff that would take a long time for me to do on camera. And this is supposed to be like a white picket fence here, so that was kind of a cool little concept. So that's what I did off camera. I also switched out the pillars here on this balcony with some oak wood fences instead of the light gray wool just pillars, and I think it looks a little bit better because those pillars are quite skinny on the actual build, and those thick pillars weren't really working. So the only thing that would make this better is if I could somehow dye this wool like white. That would be like perfect, like have those skinny white pillars. But I added a little bit of roofing here as well, and just kind of added some more stuff. So just a couple of things, not too much. Again, I don't want to do too much stuff off camera, that way you guys can kind of keep up. But today's plan is to do some roofing, try to get like some of the front roofs done, just so we can get a little bit more of a scope of what this place is going to look like, because I want to try to make it look as realistic as possible and as close to the real thing. It's supposed to be a replica. And also for the back, I just cleared out some more space, so some of these trees have been cleared out, as you can see. I just kind of burned them all down. And we have plenty of space for a floor plan that we could get started on today as well. So one thing I want to note, actually I'm going to go ahead and fill that in because that's going to bug me for no apparent reason. One thing I want to note while we get started here is I did a little bit more research on the house itself. Last episode I said I wasn't sure if it was on a lake or if it was on the beach, as in like the coastline. And upon further review, it is on the coastline of Florida. It's on the east coast, on the Atlantic Ocean of Florida. And that's pretty cool. I think it's a really nice location. That's a good spot. It's kind of got that, it definitely has that Floridian architecture. You can definitely tell because I have relatives that live in Florida, and I've been down there a lot during my life, and you can tell that this house does have that kind of style of architecture. So that's kind of something to keep in mind. But it is on the coastline, which does bring up the question is, should this be built somewhere else? Because as you can see, there is no water in sight other than these little ponds. And my original idea was to kind of just create a little artificial lake or something out here for like the boat dock and everything. And I'm going to go ahead and continue working on this place this episode. But I can definitely consider moving this build either between this episode and episode 3. I could move it somewhere else because obviously we're not going to have a whole lot of progress done to the first 2 episodes, so I can just quickly copy it somewhere else. I really did want to build it on the other side of the street from the 2015 Dream Home, but I don't think that's going to really work out based on the environment of where this place is located. So I could definitely move this to like a coastal area of Minecraft. I think that would look a little bit cooler. So let me know if you guys think I should do that as a potential change of landscape, because I want it to be as similar to the real thing as possible, and building it in the middle of like a continent as opposed to right on the coastline just really wouldn't fit the theme. So well, that's yet to be determined whether we're going to do that, but let's just get started on some roofing today. So an issue that I had on last year's Dream Home Let's Build was choosing a color for the roof. Originally I had spruce wood, but luckily dark oak wood came out since I finished this build, and I switched it out, which was a much more appropriate color. But I'm having the same issue on this year's build because the color of the roof really doesn't have a representation in Minecraft, so I'm using acacia. I think this is going to be the best possible solution for the roof of the 2016 Dream Home. So we'll see if this ends up turning out pretty good. I could switch it out for maybe spruce wood, maybe something else at some point, but for now I'm just going to roll with this and see what happens. And I think this should be fine. I don't think it's going to be too unrealistic or have too many issues, but you never know. But for now we're going to go with the acacia wood. But anyway guys, thank you for the support on the first episode of the Dream Home. I know you guys liked this series last year, and I'm glad to see that you guys are looking forward to it again this year. Again, like I said in the first episode, this year is going to be a little bit more challenging than last year, just because I really do think this place is going to be a little bit more difficult to recreate in Minecraft this year as opposed to last year. So down here is going to be the front of the garage. So what I did was I actually added a lining of 15 blocks of light gray wool going across right here, And this is basically where the driveway is going to be. We're going to have kind of like a big circle here, driveway, and then the driveway will obviously connect to the road. We're going to put a bunch of palm trees out here and things like that, but this is going to be the front of the garage, and what I'm going to be doing is basically just kind of wrapping around a lining of the acacia slabs, and I'm going with slabs for this build because the roof, you know, on the build is not super steep, but it isn't steep enough to warrant the stairs, if that kind of makes sense. That's another challenge with kind of creating roofs in Minecraft, because, you know, you always have to kind of make that decision whether you're going to go with the slabs or you're going to go with the stairs, and that is always a tough choice. So we're going to go ahead and go with the slabs for this build. Last year, obviously, we used stairs, and, you know, that was honestly even a tough decision. I was considering slabs for last year's build, so this is kind of going to be the top of the garage, and we're going to go from there. I think the garage is wide enough. I hope it is. It's a pretty big garage on this build. It's actually going to be a 3-car garage. Last year's build only had 1, so that's going to be a big difference. I'm going to run this all the way down through here, just kind of connect it across. And we're going to run this back over here. And again, when you're doing roofs, it's pretty much just connecting the dots on a puzzle. Simple as that, you know. Right now, that's what I'm doing. This kind of runs down and connects to there, and it kind of makes that shape, and it connects to that shape, and it just works really good. Right there is a pretty solid start. So then really the next thing I would do to kind of connect that part up there to here is I would come up here and just kind of do this for a second. So let me kind of take this out a little bit. And I did a little bit of this off camera just to kind of get started on it, but just kind of make sure that it was all lined up and symmetrical, and I had the right amount of blocks counted off. So we're going to do the front of the house, at least get some of this roofing in. Obviously, we're doing like floating roof right now, which I never advise you do this. You know, you always want to have kind of a floor plan in before you put on a roof, but because I'm doing a replica, I know exactly what I'm going to need for this, so I can do this. But if you're actually like creating your own style, like your own build, this is probably not the best way to do it. But since I'm creating something that's already existing, I can kind of get away with doing something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the floor plan after I kind of get this front roof figured out. I kind of want to have the front of the build kind of decided and put in the books before we continue. So the next thing I would do, right, is I'm going to kind of connect the dots here in a manner that's going to make a little bit more sense. So this is going to run down, and each time I bring it across here, I'm going to go 1 block closer to this part of the house. And you'll kind of understand how this works in a second once it kind of connects. So I'm going to do that there, and then we're going to go another one right here, and that's going to connect to there. And then you kind of just keep on rinsing and repeating this process and just get closer and closer every time. And then what you want to do is, this is what I'm going to do personally for this. I'm probably going to, let's see, I want to kind of take it across to the point where, actually I think this is going to look fine. Let me take a look at this. You know what I'm going to do? Here's the idea. I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to kind of take it across here. I'm going to run it down this way. And then I'm just going to kind of create a point at the top of this. So I'll show you guys what I mean by that as we kind of go on here. So that's going to go there and then turn here. And now this part here is going to be like a new part of the roof. So this is what I kind of mean by this. I'm going to take up another level right here, run this across, run this down, and we're going to kind of take this across here. Doing the roofing is like, you know, I say this every Let's Build, but it's like the most important part of the build. Because, you know, I mean, roofing isn't as important on modern houses, but for something like this, really important, because this roof kind of has a whole bunch of different shapes and sizes to it. So making sure that I get everything all connected correctly is like a really big key, especially on a build like this. So that's going to kind of be the top there. And if we kind of fly out here from a distance, you can kind of see that, right? So there's kind of like 2 points of this. So there's like a middle point of this part, and then you kind of combine both of these 2 fronts together and create a middle point up here, okay? So that's just kind of like a thing that you can do. And that kind of creates a nice little design there. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue this. And this is going to keep going down and just kind of continue to follow this pattern. And then I think after that we'll be good for the roof for now, and we can do some floor planning or something like that. But this is good. This is good. I think this roof is going to come along pretty nicely. Again, kind of like my order of operations for this build. I think last year I did something very similar. Start off with the front, then put in the floor plan, and then kind of do wall by wall on the outside, and then come back into the interior. I am going to probably focus a little bit more on the interior this year, because it's a little bit more complicated, I think, than last year. So we're going to have to kind of do that simultaneously with some of the exterior work. But there you go. That's kind of like what I want the front roof to look like. And if you look at the real house, other than the color of the roof, that looks pretty similar. So I think we're on the right track here. This is already looking fairly similar to the actual builds. This is good. What I'm going to do now is just kind of fill this in. I think there's just going to be like one window on this wall, and then like just a bunch of leaves, and we'll put some leaves and flowers and things like that. So a bunch of bushes and stuff like that. So that will all just be filled in, but we'll probably end up punching a window out later on. That's just going to be a flat wall for now, but that's looking pretty good on the front already. Just an episode and a half in. So let's do a little bit of floor planning here, guys, and we're going to kind of take some walls across here, take the garage down, and just kind of fill in some of the inside just to start off. So we're going to start off on the garage side over here, and I'm just going to run this down. We're going to have 3 different garage doors on this build, which is going to be pretty cool. So let's go ahead and add those in right now. I'm going to do one right here, so that'll go across 4, jump a block, 1, 2, 3, 4, jump another block, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to be the entrances to our 3 garage doors. So this is going to be a pretty big garage, but I think it's going to be really nice. Again, I'm going to kind of continue this out through here for now. One of the challenges is obviously going to be double stacking the walls on the interior with a bunch of different colors. So we're going to have to kind of keep that in mind, and that's why I'm going to kind of double stack things as we go, and that's why we have windows like this, which are already kind of like built into the double stack. So that's a good thing. I'm going to take a wall across right here, just going to kind of create a little perimeter here, and then we'll kind of do a little bit of interior. I haven't like super rehearsed myself with what the interior looks like, so I'm not going to be able to do like a full scale floor plan today. I'm going to have to do a little bit more memorization of what the interior looks like before I kind of do everything, but we can get started today for sure. So obviously we're going to have the front foyer here, and this is going to be a very open build. Like there's a lot of open space, really tall ceiling right when you walk into the house, and it's going to be 2 floors, but on the second floor is only going to be the master bedroom. Like there's nothing else on the second floor. The second floor is purely dedicated to the master bedroom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a wall across right here and connect it going across right here, and that is going to be the closet and the bathroom for this front space. And then the next thing I'm going to do is kind of take a wall across right here, and this whole area that you're seeing me build right now is going to be a bedroom. So we're going to have our first bedroom right there, and then again we have the foyer, and then we're going to have a staircase right here next to that in this space. So we're already allocating this space pretty nicely. There's going to be an opening right here that leads into a dining room, so I'm going to kind of take that across over here. I think it should be right here, and if I break this, yeah, that does line up with this side. So we can actually break this wall. This right here is not necessary in any way, so we can just get rid of this. Alright, so just break it. No need for it. And this is going to run across, and this is going to be a dining room space. So we're going to take this out a decent amount for right now. Again, a lot of this is going to be open, so it's going to be something like that. In fact, I should probably make it a square. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks going across here. So it should be the same here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I actually already have it, so that's great. So that's going to be our dining room space, and then really this whole space here is just going to be like wide open. Like there's going to be a dining room table there, a kitchen there. I mean, it's going to be a lot of open space. So we'll kind of cover that as we go on later. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a wall across right here, and this is going to be kind of the connection between the garage and the house. So what am I going to do with this? I think I want to, let me take a look at this from a distance. So I'm trying to decide whether I want this garage to be, or these garage doors to be a little bit bigger. I think I might do that, so that would make a little bit more sense. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just make those garage doors a little bit bigger so they're kind of closer to the entrance. So that's good. We'll have a door right here. I'm going to break this open a few blocks. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to turn this inward, and I'm probably going to take this in, I don't know, maybe like 4 blocks, and this right here is going to be like the official entrance to the house from the garage. We're going to take a wall across right here and connect it, and then there's going to be a entrance from the garage right here. We'll kind of do a little cut off there, and then there's going to be another room there. So that'll probably be like the laundry room and something like that, or like the mud room, and that's going to be where that space is going to be. So we'll have something like that. And then what I'm going to do is kind of run a wall across right here, and this is just going to continue down. And let's see what else we can do. I might actually take this out one extra block like that. And that's going to be the entrance to the house, like I said. And then the rest of this stuff I think I'm just going to kind of cover later on. I think this is a pretty good start here, though. Just kind of adding in a little bit of the floor plan. Not everything, because I'm really not ready to do like the whole floor plan just yet. So what I think I'm going to do now is just move on to the side here and do a little bit of the garage, maybe actually fill in that part of the house. Alright guys, so I'm just going to do the side of the garage here just to kind of get this wall filled in as kind of like the final thing we do for today's episode. I'm going to run this down to right here and take it up like that. And then basically this whole thing here is just going to be like me filling in stuff. So I'm going to take this up right here. And again, each one of these pillars is going to go up, and there's going to be a garage door in between that. And I think that's pretty much good. And then the rest of this space here will just be filled in with some light gray wool, if I could place the blocks properly. There we go. So this will go down here, and that's going to be a door. And then the rest of these are going to be garage doors. So let's go ahead and add these in. I'm going to do sideways pillared course for this. The block on the actual build, or I guess the texture on the actual build, is something similar to this. Not exactly the same, but close enough. I might even consider doing this, like the front of the quartz blocks as well, because that could look potentially pretty cool. But I'm just going to go with the sideways for now. I could always switch that up later. So we're going to kind of take this across and fill this in. And we'll go from there. So I probably just take this all the way across, and I can just break the middle parts. That'll probably be the easiest way to do this, but this garage is really simple on the interior, so it's not going to be too much of a stress trying to build this thing. No crazy shapes or anything like that. There is kind of like a lanai in the back that we have to keep in, or take into account, I guess. Kind of like one of those screened in areas, you know, because there's a lot of mosquitoes in Florida and stuff like that. You don't want to deal with that. Alright, so let's take this across right here. And we're going to kind of break this, and that'll just kind of open up that space, and that's going to be like the inside of the garage pretty much. So there are the garage doors, simple enough. And then what I'm going to do is take across some of the roofing and basically just kind of continue this process and kind of just fill this all in. So while I do this, guys, I want to thank you guys very much for watching the second episode of the 2016 HGTV Dream Home Let's Build. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it so far. Got a little bit of the floor planning done, got some important roof stuff finished, and did a little bit of landscaping off camera. I think you guys can expect me to do a little bit of landscaping off camera, so in between this episode and the next one, I'm going to make a decision, a permanent decision, whether to keep the house across the street from last year's build, or to move it to a different location, maybe a more coastal area of this world, or maybe on a different world completely. So I'll figure that out in between this one and the next episode. So thank you guys very much for watching. It's been Dangeles. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys for episode number 3 of the HGTV 2016 Dream Home in a few days. But until then, guys, have a good day, and peace out.